For those who've abandoned hope, we'll restore hope and we'll welcome them into a great national crusade to make America great again.
Hello everyone! As for my final project for AP US History, I wanted to focus on and cover some of Ronald Reagan's most controversial economic policies during his time as the 40th President of the United States of America. Primarily, I wanted to go over Reagan's idea of trickle-down economics, which he called Reaganomics, and how he ultimately caused more harm than good towards the middle and lower classes, minorities, and democracy overall. So for now, let's look back and reflect upon some of Ronald Reagan's most disputed contributions regarding the American economy and the many reasons why he was both loved and hated by many Americans. Ronald Reagan's economic strategies, often referred to as Reaganomics, received both praise and criticism for their effects on American society. While supporters praised Reagan's measures for curbing inflation and boosting expansion through tax reductions and deregulation, non-supporters believed that they worsened income inequality and raised the debt, leading to lasting economic and social divisions throughout his time in office. Reagan's theory of supply-side economics said that by removing regulations on businesses and lowering their taxes, they would be able to become more productive and have more freedom to be agile or active in the market. That growth would then translate to more jobs and higher wages for workers. In this case, the wealth would start at the top and then it would trickle down to everyone, hence the name trickle-down economics. In a way, Reagan was both right and wrong about this theory, because in the end, such wealth was able to start at the top, but it ended up staying there. This quote-unquote wealth never trickled down to the bottom, leaving millions without jobs and a high unemployment rate present all across the nation. Reagan's focus on supply-side economics, which emphasized reducing taxes and government spending, aimed to stimulate investment and economic growth. However, the benefits of this approach were unevenly distributed, with wealthier individuals and corporations benefiting from more significant rewards, while middle and lower income Americans often saw limited gains. Critics argue that these policies contributed to a widening gap between the rich and the poor and underfunded vital public spaces or services. Additionally, Reagan's deregulation efforts, particularly in the financial and environmental sectors, also had long-term consequences. While these measures were intended to foster innovation and efficiency, they also increased corporate power and, in some cases, environmental degradation. Reagan completely ignored and neglected the pollution of water and exposure to hazardous chemicals in many poor areas of the U.S. Instead of making America great again as he promised, Reagan implemented policies that exacerbated economic disparities and left many working-class families in a web of struggle. The significant reduction in social welfare programs increased financial insecurity for millions of Americans. The reduction in government assistance had a direct and profound impact on the daily lives of lower and middle-income families. It made it more difficult for them to access essential services such as healthcare, education, and food, contributing to a cycle of poverty and inequality that continues to persist in society today. Reagan's impact on lower and middle-income American families was tremendous and devastating. Besides the fact that Ronald Reagan was elected president during one of America's most catastrophic recessions since the Great Depression, Reagan cut a significant amount of spending on domestic government programs such as Social Security, Medicaid, food stamps, and federal education programs. In total, $44 billion were cut from these programs, which resulted in a substantial reduction in the support available to many lower and middle-income American families. These cuts disproportionately affected vulnerable populations, including older people, children, and individuals experiencing poverty. leading to an increase in financial strain and hardship. The detrimental effects of Reagan's economic policies can still be felt today by many low-income families. The reduction in funding for affordable housing programs during Reagan's administration contributed to the ongoing affordable housing crisis, making it difficult for many families to secure stable housing. Furthermore, the cuts to the federal education funding have had long-term impacts on public schools, particularly in low-income areas, resulting in overcrowded classrooms, underpaid teachers, and diminished educational resources. These issues, deeply rooted in Reagan-era policies, continue to challenge the economic stability and upward mobility of many Americans, underscoring the urgent need for change.